Hi, today we are going to be doing a little bit of a different thing. We are going to be doing a tier list. I was inspired by iDubbbz, who has created his own tier lists. Plot twist, we're not gonna focus on fast food, we are going to focus on metalcore bands. Now, what I have here is my own template of a tier list. Here I have 20 bands that I chose either from the suggestions from my Discord or my own preference. So majority of these bands that you see here are the bands that I listen to pretty much on a daily basis. And I have my tiers, S, A, B, C, D, F. If you don't know how it works, basically S tier is the top tier, F tier is the lowest tier. So today I'm going to be ranking these bands based on my own very subjective opinion on music and bands in general. So we are going to start with a random band that I have here. Let's start with All That Remains, right? It's the band that I haven't really got a chance to listen to a lot in the past, but it's definitely the band that I have checked out. It's more of a classic metalcore band than a lot of these other bands on this list. The most recent album I really liked. I thought it was a pretty well-written metalcore album. The one before it, I thought was shit. I thought it was very generic. I thought it was very boring and just in general not good. So it was very, very nice to see that they sort of came back the next year with a better, bigger record. And it's a shame to hear what happened to their guitarist. Rest in peace. All That Remains will go somewhere around C, I guess. I do not consider them my favorite metalcore band, obviously, and I don't really value their music as much as some of the other bands on this list here. But I still don't think they're either good or bad. I think they're decent, so that's why I put them right dead center, tier C. And let's pick something completely different from All That Remains. And let's actually go for the Amity Affliction. Now, this band I have listened to a lot back in the day, back in like 2015-ish time. One of my friends introduced them to me, and I was kind of happy with their music at the time. But as time progressed, my taste changed a lot. Their most recent record, Misery, to me was a little bit too modern, if that's telling you anything. It had a lot of unnecessary vocal tunes, a lot of very modern beats in the background. I just didn't like it at all. But some of their music is actually pretty good. I know that a lot of people don't consider them metalcore. A lot of people say that they're post-hardcore, and I agree, but I also do think at least used to have some of those metalcore characteristics. But regardless, I'm going to put them in the E tier because I don't feel all that hyped about their music anymore. Even about the old songs. For some reason, I just don't enjoy them as much as I used to. We're gonna pick Northlane, actually. It's one of those bands. It's actually probably the band that I have discovered most recently out of all of them. Started my introduction with their previous record, and I thought it was actually pretty unique. It did sound a lot more different from all the other modern metalcore bands. And actually, I really enjoyed their newest single called Bloodline. I thought it was fantastic. I'm gonna put them at a B tier. Yes, I think they're good, but I need to have more time with them, spent with their music to sort of value them a little bit higher. So that's my stance on Northlane. Let's move on. We have Memphis May Fire, the first band out of these all 20 bands. I don't have much to say about this band, honestly. Most recent record was horrible. It was a very, very bad record from all kinds of perspectives, from lyrical perspective, from musical perspective. It's just something that I don't enjoy listening to, and I will never. So Memphis May Fire goes straight to F tier. We move on, and we have a band called Miss May I, and it's actually a very interesting band. It's definitely more classic metalcore band, I would say. And I do enjoy their sound a lot. I think they have a phenomenal mix of vocals. We have a great clean vocalist. We have a great scream vocalist. And the instrumentals, they remind me a lot of like KillSwitch Engage type of metalcore, and I really do enjoy that as well. So Miss May I, don't really have much to say about them particularly, but I'm going to put them next to Northlane into the B tier. They're a good, decent, and very solid band. Canehill. And Canehill is not purely metalcore. They are something of a mix between metalcore and new metal. They're super cool. I actually did enjoy their most recent EP, which wasn't metalcore. It wasn't new metal. It was kind of an indie acoustic music. And I really did enjoy that. So I'm going to put them into the actually A tier. I seriously will rank them higher than Northlane and Miss May I for some reason. But hey, it's my opinion. I can do whatever the hell I want. A Day to Remember. It's a band that sort of started as a metalcore band, but then slowly turned into punk rock, punk metal-ish. That's actually one of the bands that I have seen live on this list. And they're pretty good live. I didn't quite like the vocals live as much, but it's a cool band. Like, I have nothing bad to say about them, but I just don't think they're particularly amazing. I'm gonna put them next to All That Remains into C tier. They're a decent band, but I don't think they have something special for me to put them higher. You like Moss to Flames, and this is the band that I have listened to a lot. I've listened to a lot of their music, and it's kind of the same story as with Amity Affliction, because I sort of fell off their sound. I don't enjoy their music quite as much as I did back in the day. I did enjoy, however, their newest record, which featured a lot of clean vocals. It was a nice, softer record, but I don't consider them that good of a metalcore band. So I'm gonna put them into D tier, and I think that's fair. We move on into the band called Asking Alexandria. Now, this is a more mainstream band. We are crawling up onto the more mainstream bands right here and here. But this is Asking Alexandria. And again, a lot of people would say they're post-hardcore. I still consider them metalcore very much. I don't really have that much to say. I mean, it's pretty decent for the genre. Again, they're one of the most influential bands in the genre, so I do rate them for that. But still, I never thought of Asking Alexandria as like one of the best metalcore bands in history, right? A lot of people do, but I don't. And a lot of people also say that their most recent record, self-titled record, Asking Alexandria, was bad, was a sellout. I don't think so. I think it was a turn into a new direction that will most likely benefit them and the fans as well. As for the band as a whole, I think the music that they write now is much better than the music that they wrote back in the day, back in the emo days. And still, I think they're decent. I think they're good, but I don't think they're as good. So I'm gonna put them into C tier. We move on to the band called Beartooth. Now, again, this is a weird mix of punk rock and punk metal and metalcore. Man, oh man, is this band consistent. I have listened to a lot of their albums, and they're pretty much always good. Like, I haven't heard a bad Beartooth record. I haven't heard a particularly bad Beartooth song. They're all either decent or above. And I do enjoy their sound a lot. It's that unique punk rock sounding metalcore sound that is pretty damn brilliant, to be honest, that they did that. And I did enjoy Disease. It was a great record. Every single song I have on my playlist. I'm gonna put them next to Northlane and Miss May I into the B tier. And now we move on to the band called Trivium. It's one of the more classic metalcore bands in this list. I really like Matt Heafy's vocals. I don't think he's as good as he was before, but he definitely delivers that signature Trivium style, as well as guitarists. I think guitars in Trivium are one of the best in the genre. And actually drums. Drums are also one of the best in the genre ever since Alex Bent came into the drum set of Trivium. And I rate them very highly. I thought The Sin in the Sentence, which was the record released in 2017, was a phenomenal record. It was the best record of that year. And I just think Trivium is amazing. I think they're awesome. So I'm going to put them into A tier, next to Canehill. We move on to Silent Planet. And this is one of the most favorite bands of mine in history of times. They're 100% the best lyrical bands, the best lyricists in the game. They're one of the best instrumentalists in the game. They have a unique, fresh style that captures a lot of hearts of fans, including mine. So I'm gonna put Silent Planet into S tier. It's actually the first band in S tier, and I don't regret a single bit of putting it there because it deserves that spot for sure. Ice Nine Kills. It's another interesting band with a unique style. They have decided to capture the niche of making music, conceptual music based on different stuff. For example, their previous record was based on classic horror literature, and their most recent record, which came out last year, was based on horror movies. So I think they sound pretty cool. They really stepped it up. So for that, I'm gonna put them into B tier next to Beartooth, Miss May I, and Northlane. Bury Tomorrow. It's the British metalcore band that I have also discovered last year with the record Black Flame. I do not enjoy the mixing style of this band. I think the mixing is very, very lacking in clarity. It's like static sound in the background instead of guitars. The guitar tone is ruined, I think, in this in the Black Flame record. But when it comes to writing and music, I think they write amazing kick-ass metalcore music. So I'm gonna put them actually into C tier next to Asking Alexandria, A Day to Remember, and All That Remains. I Prevail, one of the more mainstream metalcore bands that isn't really metalcore anymore. They have released Trauma this year, which was one of the most interesting records that I've checked out. I didn't think it was particularly amazing, but it wasn't bad either. This record was more of an experiment into the trap beats and rap area. I don't think it's like masterpiece material, but it's an interesting experiment, and I respect any type of experiments in music because they're needed. And I put I Prevail into the C tier next to Bury Tomorrow, Ask Alexandria, and the rest. We move on to Motionless in White. Now, I have an interesting history with this band. I used to listen to them quite a lot. I don't know why. I just don't like their style. Like, their music is fairly decent, but it's also very lacking for me in a lot of aspects. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna put them in F tier and expect angry comments. We move on to Wage War. This is a metalcore band, a very generic one, but a very cool one. Very, very like kick-ass and heavy and brutal breakdowns every 5 seconds type of metalcore. Progressive also. When you listen to a couple of songs, that's fine. That's like, oh yeah, cool. Fucking testosterone levels are going up. But with every next listen, you kind of hear the same exact thing over and over again. They do have some variety. Like, I'm not saying they're completely like missing any sort of variety in their music, but I'm also kind of saying that too. I don't think Wage War is up there. That's what I'm saying. They're definitely a good band, but I'm expecting the album. I'm actually gonna put them into C tier. They're a decent record, a decent band that I have listened to a lot. They're also new, kind of. I'm expecting them to release a good album this year. We move on to the band called Bullet for My Valentine. It's one of the most classic metalcore bands on this list. They're also kind of cool. Like, they have started a lot of things in metalcore, a lot of trends, and for that alone, you should like really respect them because they influenced a lot of metalcore music, and I think that's amazing. I think that's amazing that they did. With every single record, you started to notice a bit of a decline in their music style and their music writing. Gravity, for example, was one of the worst records last year, in my opinion. It was just very poorly written. It was very poorly mixed. It was very, very poorly sang by Matt Tuck. His voice is much better than it sounds on the record. If it were, 2015, I would definitely put them into A, B tiers, but I'm going to put them into D tier. I'm expecting some sort of redemption from them in the closest years. While She Sleeps, one of my personal favorite bands. Unique style, amazing vocals, great guitars, awesome drums. It's a very, very cool band when it comes to actual lyrics and actual like aesthetics of the sound, should I say. But While She Sleeps is definitely one of the highlights in this list. I do enjoy their music a lot. In fact, I enjoy them to the point where I actually buy their merch, at least one piece of merch. So While She Sleeps goes into the S tier, next to Silent Planet. I know, crazy. Next, we are going to talk about Of Mice and Men. Now, if you follow closely this channel, you would know that Of Mice and Men is one of my personal favorite bands of all time. On this list of all these bands, this is the band that I have listened to the most. Like, time-wise, I've spent a lot of time listening to Of Mice and Men exclusively. I know pretty much every single song on their track list, like all of the records, every single song I have heard at least once or twice. And it's the band that got me into heavy music, and I'm really thankful for that, because they have definitely shaped a lot of tastes in my head and shaped a lot of ways I look at music. I'm going to put them next to Trivium and Cane Hill into the A tier. Periphery, progressive metalcore band. A lot of people don't say they're metalcore, but they are. It's one of the most interesting sounding bands on this list. Actually, the most interesting sounding band. Hailstan, I reviewed it, and it is definitely one of the best things I've heard in my entire life. The level of musicianship, the level of even lyricism is insane. Like, you don't get that a lot in today's music. Today's music is kind of going towards simplicity. Periphery goes for making music for musicians, making music for people who get satisfaction from complication in music. Pretty much like avant-garde jazz lovers, I guess, but in metalcore. So I'm gonna put them S tier because they're fucking amazing. If you don't agree with me, you're wrong. Fit for a King, another band that I have rediscovered not that long ago, actually, last year with the newest record, Dark Skies. I thought it was one of the best records last year, and I still do think that. Fit for a King is definitely one of my favorite metalcore bands. They have amazing vocalist, Ryan Kirby, who has a YouTube channel who talks about a lot of interesting stuff there. They write music very emotional, very heavy, and very brutal, and I really like that. Fit for a King goes into the A tier. Yeah. As I Lay Dying. As I Lay Dying is the band that, again, a lot of people got into back in the day, but I didn't, and I don't know why, and so I don't really have much to say about them, except for the fact that I have enjoyed the hell out of the most new two singles, My Own Grave and Redefined. I've gone back and listened to a lot of their previous stuff, and I could say that they're definitely classic metalcore band. I just can't say that they're my all-time favorite band. So I'm gonna put them into the B tier, but that's gonna change if I like the new record. And I am really hoping that this opinion will change, because, As I Lay Dying, everyone loves them, so better be like everyone. Architects. This band is something on another level. I personally think that Architects have brought so much to the genre that they should be put in like Hall of Fame of metalcore. Last three records were absolutely incredible. I'm talking, of course, about Lost Together, Lost Forever, All Our Gods Have Abandoned Us, and the most recent one, Holy Hell. What was I talking about? Of course, Architects. One of my favorite bands of all time. Amazing music, amazing lyricism. So I'm definitely putting them onto the S tier of this list. August Burns Red. One of my all-time favorite bands. One of the most consistent bands in history. To this day, they still play some of the songs from their very first records on every single show, and I think that's amazing. That's a very nice indication that the band has written some great music and is still writing some great music, and fans equally love every single part of their career. That's something you don't get as much. You get that, oh, well, this band used to be writing that, and I like that, but I don't like their new stuff. When it comes to August Burns Red, it seems like they have always been writing in the same exact style that appeals to everyone. So it's a win-win for us as fans. So I enjoy August Burns Red a lot. It's definitely my most favorite band in metalcore, alongside bands like Architects and the rest. So I'm gonna put them into the S tier. KillSwitch Engage. Oh boy, they surely are considered the best metalcore band in history, because they pioneered a lot of stuff into the genre and they popularized a lot of stuff into the genre. And for that alone, you should also respect them. But with the most recent record, Incarnate, you know, their music was kind of stale. I thought it was a great record, but not as great as I expected it would be. So I'm really hoping that KillSwitch steps up their game with the new record coming somewhere in the fall. I'm going to be really excited for that. But for now, KillSwitch Engage, unfortunately, just an A tier. Bring Me the Horizon, the second last band on our list. We're almost done. Bring Me the Horizon is a very conflicting band. A lot of people don't consider them metalcore, neither do I. But you know, when you search up Bring Me the Horizon, it says metalcore band. Bring Me the Horizon is a band that released some good music, some bad music, some horrible music, some great music. They're very inconsistent in that regard. I do like their new stuff that they're aiming for from the Ammo, but you know, I don't like their deathcore era, but they obviously are influential. They obviously are very important to the genre. And for that, I'm not going to put them into F tier. I'm going to put them into E tier. So the last band we have here is Parkway Drive, an Australian metalcore band that is an insane band. They have had such great albums. Their music is phenomenal. Their music is very signature style Parkway Drive music. A lot of people didn't like Ire, which was the record from 2015. A lot of people also didn't like Reverence, which was the record from last year. But I do think Reverence is actually one of their best albums they have put out, just because it's so goddamn different. Just because they had enough balls to put out a record that sounds nothing like, for example, Horizons, you know, and still be considered Parkway Drive, still be considered top of metalcore game. And for me personally, Parkway Drive is one of the best bands in the genre. They're also one of the best live bands that I have seen. The amount of energy that they give you is on another level. Like, it goes out of frame to show you how much energy they give. So for me, that's a S tier without any doubt. And there you have it. As you can see, I'm a really nice person, so I didn't put as much bands into the lower tiers as much as I did into higher tiers, just because I don't like negativity. I like to, you know, find good stuff, even if the stuff is bad, if that makes any sense. So this is my complete list. Make sure to respond to this in the comments, or you can make a video with the hashtag from this video, so I can check that out. I can also join the discussion under your video and talk about your picks and your reasoning behind some of the bands' rankings. You can choose different bands, you can choose the same bands. It's all up to you. You can also just, you know, talk about this in the comments. Feel free. I'm always happy to respond in the comments. I always read them, every single one. Thank you all for watching. This was probably one of the longest videos on my channel, so I'm very thankful that you have made it all the way through here. I appreciate that. Time to go to sleep.